Add to stage. Here I am. And why is this not full screen? I've got to go over to full screen it, I guess. Or no. Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm so excited that I am having some technical difficulties here, and well, there. Here we go, guys. The news we've all been waiting for is that Suzanne has been found, and it's really cool. I've heard it from several different locations before I got it on here. I had my kids send it to me on Facebook. I had Celestial send it to me on Facebook. Kurt sent it to me on my phone, and this is just awesome stuff. And I forgot to ask if people can hear me. So if you can hear me, let me know. Anyway, we'll read the article. Let me get that out of the way. And what we've got here is remains belonging to missing Colorado mom Suzanne Morphew, found in Colorado. And close that. And does it get bigger? I don't know. Well, the search for a missing Colorado mother has come to a tragic end. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation announced on Wednesday remains that were found during a search on September 22nd were positively identified as Suzanne Morphew. The identification was done by the El Paso County coroner on Thursday. Morphew was reported missing on May 10th, 2020, Mother's Day. The news release from CBI adds investigators were searching in the area of Moffett in Saguache County for an investigation that wasn't related to Morphew's disappearance. Specific information about the location and the state of the remains are being withheld at this time. Part of the CBI news release reads, no arrests have been made since the remains were located. Updates will be provided as information becomes available during this ongoing investigation. Family notifications have been made following the formal identification of Suzanne Morphew. The public is still asked to report any information that may have tied to Suzanne Morphew by calling, and then that same number we're also familiar with. While this case has garnered attention from around the world, it has touched our community and the sheriff's office deeply, said Chaffee County Sheriff John Spazey. We have never stopped our investigation and will continue to follow all leads in pursuit of justice for Suzanne. The remains were located in the 12th Judicial District. The district attorney, Ann Kelly, has been notified according to CBI. Although locating Suzanne's remains is a critical component of this investigation and for her family, we are left with many more questions than answers, and it would be a disservice to conduct a news conference at this time, said Sheriff Spazey. Yay, no news conference at this time. Do not blow this, guys. And then it's got the timeline. May 11th, search crews were called to the area. She was believed to be near in her Chaffee County home. May 15th, items belonging to Suzanne were found. May 17th, Barry shared the video with the public. And May 19th, authorities searched the Morphew home. May 22nd, a separate residential property was searched where a concrete foundation had been prepared, etc. And we'll pop on over to this next one. And remains of missing Colorado mom Suzanne Morphew found in Moffett 3+ years after last seen. The remains of missing Colorado mom Suzanne Morphew have been found more than 3 years after she was last seen. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation has positively identified the remains as that of Morphew. Morphew was last seen on Mother's Day 3 years ago, May 10th, 2020. Her disappearance made national headlines, and the investigation was featured on the CBS News show 48 Hours. Suzanne Morphew left behind, well, it says 2 teenage daughters, but they weren't teenage. They weren't both teenaged at the time. And a husband, Barry Morphew, who was not only the prime suspect in her disappearance, he was also charged with her murder. And according to CBI, the remains were located during the course of a search on September 22nd, and those remains were positively identified as that of Morphew of Chaffee County by the El Paso County coroner on Wednesday. Investigators were searching in the area of Moffat in Saguache County on an investigation not related to the Morphew disappearance when the remains were discovered. While this case has garnered attention from around the world, it has touched our community and the sheriff's office deeply, said Chaffee County Sheriff John Spazey in a statement. We have never stopped our investigation and will continue to follow all leads in pursuit of justice for Suzanne. No arrests have been made since the remains have been located. Although locating Suzanne's remains is a critical component of this investigation and for her family, we are left with many more questions than answers, and it would be a disservice to conduct a news conference at this time. And earlier this year, Barry Morphew filed a lawsuit asking for $15 million, saying he was wrongfully charged in his wife's disappearance and, at the time, presumed death. The lawsuit includes Chaffee County, the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, and several named investigators in the case, including those working for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the FBI. Suzanne disappeared after leaving her home, but she did not. There it is again, that damn bike ride. She did not go on a bike ride. What happens next remains a mystery. Her bicycle was found down a steep ravine, blah, blah, blah. We know all that part. During the investigation into her disappearance, friends told detectives that Suzanne and Barry had been arguing about finances and that Suzanne may have had a boyfriend. Investigators recovered documents from Suzanne's iCloud account as part of evidence. One of those documents was a list Suzanne made on May 8th, 2020, entitled Grievances. It included notes like wedding ring, which Barry allegedly took and melted at some point. She also noted women on Facebook, which Barry told her was good for business, as well as an incident in Mexico where Barry tried to take her phone away and look at it. On the morning of May 6, 2020, Suzanne sent Barry a firm text that indicated she wanted to end the relationship. The text was found in Barry's cache, indicating it had been deleted. It read, "I'm done. I could care less what you've been up to for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." Barry's reaction involved threats of suicide. "When I'm dead, which won't be long, you guys will be taken care of, and I'm going to see my savior." On the morning of May 9th, 2020, a day before Suzanne was reported missing, 59 communications were exchanged between Suzanne and the man who was apparently her boyfriend. Barry Morphew was arrested in May of 2021, etc. We know all that part. So what I am being excited about is that she has been found, guys, and Julianne is asking, which is a very good question. Let me put this up here. So would the DA and Saywatch prosecute, or would the loser Chaffee DALS prosecute? Is it done by the courts where the body is found? And I would say that clearly at least part of it is going to be able to be prosecuted in this 12th judicial, because that's where the remains are found. So, for instance, if they went for a lesser thing at that point, just to hold him, they could have, abandonment of a corpse or tampering or anything like that would occur in this county. And obviously the crime has crossed county lines. So I'm sure that there's charges that could be filed related to that as well. And I am just so overjoyed that she has been found. And I'm going to try to get you guys a map here. Let's see. I'm going to try to pull up a map here. And share this tab instead. And let's see what I can do about maybe moving it around a little bit. Let me see if I can make this any bigger. Oh, okay. I should probably move myself to this other screen. Yes. Let me Now I put myself in the wrong spot. Well, I guess you can still see. So here we go. Let me. Yes, I'm so excited. I'm being nervous and being a little bit cray with this, but right here is Maysville, and this is where the Morphews lived. And down here is Moffat, which is the area in which Suzanne was found, somewhere near Moffat. They're not releasing anything more than that right now, but it's in Saywatch County. And as you can see, this is the 285. Here's Maysville. This is the 285. This is where Poncha Springs. This is where the 285 goes north up to Broomfield. And here, obviously, is where it goes south. And then here it branches off to, looks like it's Highway 17 that Moffat is on. And the 285 is over here. Moffat's here, and there's the town of Saywatch. This is in Saywatch County, and it's really, really, it really trips me up a lot that, or trips me out. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying exactly, but you see, a long time ago, like maybe 2 years ago, there was a case where remains were found in Saywatch County, but they were the work of Psycho Barrows, and they were in the yard of a home that he owned, and it was all related to gang activity and drugs and stuff. And anyway, before those remains were identified and that perpetrator, I had been watching that case because I thought maybe it was Suzanne, and then she turns out to be in the same county. So that's pretty amazing. And let me peek here and see. Wow, there's a lot of you here. Let's run through these now. Yeah, I see lots of people are excited about this, and happy. Yeah. And yes, spread love, not hate. It's got the thing. Justice is coming. Barry's days as a free man are very numbered. I think that this totally indicates that this justice is coming, because nobody can argue anymore that Suzanne is just off on a tropical island or something. And obviously this is quite a ways away from where she was reported to have gone missing from. It's obvious she didn't go any bike ride. And yeah, and yes, Nana says, thank you, AK and his angels. And yes, AK's work on this has been amazing. And like I said, the way I found out about it was he sent me a text that showed the report. Let me see, it's a little bit different from, well, it's not really that different from what the news said, but let me pull that up a moment. It is right here. He sent the news release, and let me pull it up. And the news release is the CBI's news release, and it also reads that agents with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation located human remains during the course of a search on September 22nd, 2023. Those remains were positively identified as Suzanne Morphew, 49, of Chaffee County by the El Paso County coroner on September 27th, 2023. Morphew was reported missing from her home in Chaffee County on May 10th, 2020. Investigators were searching in the area of Moffat and Saywatch on an investigation not related to the Morphew disappearance when the remains were discovered. Specific information about the location and the state of the remains are being withheld at this time. No arrests have been made since the remains were located. Updates will be provided as information becomes available during this ongoing investigation. Family notifications have been made following the formal identification of Suzanne Morphew. So I'm so glad that there are answers for her family too. I know it seems like pretty weird and ghoulish to be happy about her remains being found, but I think we all knew in our hearts that she was no longer with us. And thank goodness her remains have been found now, and things can move forward. And of course, they're not saying anything about the condition of the remains at this point or anything. It's just, is my YouTube channel hacked? Not that I know of. And yeah, this is true. And yes, this is real news, Reichardt. I felt the same way when I first heard it. I was like, is this real? And then not only did I get it from AK, and then it was also on the Discord with all of AK's angels, and then I was getting my DMs and stuff blown up by other people also sending me links to the articles, and AK's wife sent me it on Facebook as well, and so and Julianne picked up on the same thing I did with that's a very odd comment about the state of the remains, and yeah, it is a little bit of an odd comment, but perhaps, I'm hoping that it's indicative that the remains are showing what the cause of death was. And Julianne mentions that, yeah, that's 45 minutes south of Salida. And, it's one thing that's really crazy and makes me like super thankful for my husband and the brain that he has, is that once he finally started doubting Barry, which, by the way, took a lot longer than was comfortable for me, because, was some awkward conversations when he was like, but what if he's being set up? And I'm like, no. But then finally he's like, yeah, that douche did this. And then he's like, and you know what? I bet her remains are going to be found south. He goes, because the helmet was planted to the west. And then mentioning that Cassidy was in Colorado Springs, and mentioning that that's the direction that Morgan went and everything. He said, so it's not to the east because Barry mentioned that. And it's not to the north because, Barry did that whole Broomfield thing and everything. He said, but he's never really said anything about the south. So I bet you she's to the south. And then she was. And Bernadette is saying Barry's probably wearing a diaper right now and driving 100 miles per hour towards the border. And, I sure hope that Barry is pooping his pants right now, because he deserves to have every bit of discomfort, etc. And Tracy says they better keep an eye on him, and that's true as well. And Bernadette says that Barry's probably looking for a plastic surgeon too, and I wouldn't be surprised about that either. I'm incredibly excited about this. And let's see, and Beach Bum says, where's Barry's last address? And I'm aware of him using his mom's address in Indiana, but also I've been told that he's been seen in and around Chaffee County. So I really don't know, and I hope that he gets located real soon. And Humanimal says 12th Judicial Sectors, thank God it's out of the 11th, really. And yes, I'm totally stoked that it's out of the 11th, because another good thing, too, is who knows where her death occurred. I mean, if it did occur at the house, of course, then Chafee's got jurisdiction for that, too. But, maybe they can just move it all to the 12th because that's where her remains were found. And definitely this gives new information. And Gene saying, I wonder how AK and Martin are, and will they come on? And if they show up in here, I'll be happy to have them on here. They're both awesome dudes, and I love them to pieces. And yeah, let's see. And Donna Lugier saying, where or who says it is Suzanne? And who says it is Suzanne is the El Paso County coroner, and notifications have been made to Suzanne's family, and she has been positively identified. And let's see. And Humanimal says, Donna, it is Suzanne. And Justice Jane says, I wonder if Plinter knows yet. And I hope she does. And yeah, so Suzanne has been found, and hopefully Barry's going to go down. And I have a feeling that he is going down for this real soon, because one of the big things that Iris kept, his witchy lawyer kept harping on was saying that there was no proof that Suzanne was deceased. And there is definitely proof now that she is deceased. And she didn't get that far away from home on her own. Not, she's there, her purse, her car, etc. were all at her house. It's Hey Celestial, thank you for sending me the tip too. I'm so happy to see Celestial in there. And let's see. Oh, all right. And Celestial is putting it out there really well. People are wondering how AK is taking this and how he's feeling, and Celestial's letting us know he's in shock right now. And Star Miller is asking, this is great news, but how will they be able to say what happened to her? And remains tell a tale. They basically testify for themselves, much as in the case against that evil witch, who I'm not even say her name right now, who murdered Gannon Stauk. And Gannon was able to testify himself through his remains. And I'm not sure, Humanimal, of whether the town was Alamosa or not. I just remember that Audrey Psycho's stuff was in Saywatch County, the same county, but it wasn't near Moffat. And Moffat is near where Suzanne was located. And let's see. And Celestials, so right, more information cannot come fast enough. And I'm thinking that Gene is saying that the family has been notified. I've got it from that CBI posting, and plus those news stories saying that after the identification was made, they notified Suzanne's family first, and now And let's see, when did this happen, says Pengarth. Okay, apparently there was a search going on in Saguache County or Saguache County for a different thing, a different case. And in the course of that investigation, the human remains were found on the 22nd of this month. And then today, the 27th, in the AM, the El Paso County Coroner's Office made it official. The identification was made that it is Suzanne, and then they notified Suzanne's family. And once the family was notified, then they made the public announcement. And Spread Love Not Hate says BM is scared now. And yeah, that wanker is scared now. And I can't wait till he gets arrested. He was so full of himself, so sure he was going to get away with this. And he is not going to get away with this. And Liz Stewart says this is amazing. They found her remains in an unrelated search. And yeah, and that's one of the things that just speaks to me of things happening when they're meant to, the universe smiling down, or the creator, or karma, or whatever is your faith. It just, to me, is a divine intervention that's letting us know that, things are happening, and they're happening when they're meant to. And I love TK Sass's comment. Yeah, so F you, Barry POS Morphew. And let's see. And yes, Jean says to Celestial to tell AK we said hello and sending prayers. Yeah. And I'm still way behind in the comments. And Humano says it's 3.5 hours to 4.25 hours drive to Broomfield from Moffat, just for people's references, dependent on the route according to Google Maps. And Beachbum says not what we hope, but she is found. And yeah, thank you, Nana. And I'd just like to say that AK and all the other people working Hope Rocks, etc., are really. And Celestial saying, did he have a minion take her there? Did GPS walkie-talkies lead them? And yeah, that's really, really interesting, because, like Celestial's pointing out, AK noticed that in the gun safe, the one that what's her head, Iris was trying to say was a locked gun safe and all that in her big old piece of poo lawsuit, which I'm pretty sure is going to get tossed out now. Anyway, AK discovered that there were two-way radios in there that contain SIM cards, and they are GPS locators, etc. You can do Facebook on them and everything, and then reported it to the law enforcement a little while back. So that would be very interesting if that was part of how they got to that. And Humanuel says, did Morphew arrive in Broomfield at what time? Around 10 a.m. or noon? I can't recall. And I don't have my arrest affidavit with me right this second, but yeah, I don't recall either. But if she was killed on a different day, it wouldn't even have to been that morning that Barry took her south, and there could very well be an accomplice that took her south. And 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 let's see, Phoebe says hopefully they can connect Barry, but it's been such a long time. But pretty sure that it won't be too difficult to connect Barry to this, because for one thing, he does travel around and he's probably kind of familiar with the area in Saywatch as well, him being a hunter and looking for, as he called it, horns and all that. He probably is kind of familiar with those areas, and I'm pretty sure that the evidence that they have already, that we already know about, and the evidence that we don't know about yet, will all also be contributing to this, about how different Barry's actions were at the end there, about how Barry okay, Barry and Suzanne's relationship was basically in the toilet. It had been failing for some time, and Barry and Suzanne were not in contact with each other very much for the last month, at least, if not couple months of their relationship. And then all of a sudden, the week that she disappeared is a week that there's a whole bunch of communication between their phones. And it's come to my attention that Barry was in the habit of sleeping elsewhere. And, there's just so much stuff and so much to get into that just indicated his guilt. There was so much circumstantial stuff that still links him to this. And, and it's kind of telling when looking at his lawsuit, looking at the things that aren't said in there as much as the things that are, and just kind of gives you a great idea that this was a premeditated murder. And, among those things is that mysterious trip to Midnight Pizza that supposedly took place on the Friday, that being the 8th, which was the time that law enforcement originally thought that Suzanne had been killed, was sometime on the 8th. And then they had to switch it to being on the 9th because of the photo that was sent to Jeff Libler. But what if that photo that was sent to Jeff Libler was taken at another time and then sent from Suzanne's phone to Jeff Libler? That's something to think about. And while I don't know for a fact that, that is what happened, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. And Hope Rocks says they should have been able to move forward without Suzanne's remains. See the Jennifer Julos case, and also, here in this state, the Kelsey Barrett case. But at least now they've been found. And says, oh, Barry, because if Linda Stanley wasn't such a blow it and didn't totally tank this from the beginning, not doing her job there with 11th Judicial, the case would have gone forward, and I'm pretty sure he would have been convicted. But because of the misconduct of Linda Stanley and the DA's office under her, many things were thrown out and things weren't allowed, etc., that would have helped make the case. And hubby obviously doesn't always watch me or watch like AK's channel or anything like that, because he's asking how are the truck analytics going to match up. And the thing is that Barry has disconnected his truck analytics in the past, and so it's quite possible that he had it disconnected when he did that as well, if it was him. But he has a if it was him that transported her, but he has access to other vehicles. Plus, um, Macy's vehicle or Suzanne's, because they did Suzanne's telematics, but they didn't really um, get as full a report on hers as they did on the truck. And then Macy's Land Rover is, or Range Rover, excuse me, is too old. So, and I see that Carla Cassidy was saying, I wish I were a fly on his wall right now. And yeah, that would be awesome if we were able to see what all Barry was doing right now. And Bernadette said Barry knew she was dead. He voted using her ballot. And yeah, that's another piece of information that's very very damning, very indicative that he knew that she wasn't coming back, because he used her vote. So all right, AK's here. AK, we are so proud of you too, and everything that you have done, and how you've inspired so many. And they found her remains. Let me put this back up again. Let me pop myself out of here. Okay, let me show you again. Okay, here's Salida. Maysville is right over here. But anyway, down the 285, and then near the town of Moffett in Saywatch County is where she was found, which is, I believe, a 45-minute drive. I closed my tab on accident that had the map that said the distance and everything to get there. Anyway, let's see. And TK says, I cannot stop crying now. And yeah, I think we're all feeling mixed emotions, because on the one hand, this makes it very real that Suzanne is gone, but I think in our hearts we all knew that. And it's so awesome that she has been found now, because one of the things that's been horrible and actually literally gave me nightmares is just the thought of her remains being lost somewhere, and not able to be returned to her loved ones, the ones that really love her. And I'm not talking about, I'm not trying to diss her kids or anything like that, but I know that her siblings and her father all really, really loved her and wanted answers. And, I'm sure she wanted to go home to Indiana, and, I'm sure that her remains are going to be returned there. And AK's got it right there. Love wins and hope rocks. And, oh, Natalia says, who is AK? It's been a while. And AK is from the channel AK Rocks, and also the nonprofit Hope Rocks Foundation. Excuse me, I got a cough. I got to mute myself here. Sorry about that. And anyway, yeah, let's see. And yeah, AK is a guy that has done so much for this case of Suzanne. Like, he even went on to prove certain things, like, for example, there are indeed things in the arrest affidavit, the original document, that shouldn't have been in there to begin with. But what people lost sight of is, like, for instance, the pings that were supposedly showing Barry running all around the house and everything. But what they really show is that Barry was at the house because his phone was there. And AK went and hung out in a hammock and used his phone and GPS to show that it showed that he was moving all over the place, even though he was just sitting in a hammock. And AK says patience on how they will tie her to Barry. It will happen. And yeah, they will tie her to Barry. And Moonlight View mentions that they don't have to prove motive. And yeah, they don't have to prove a motive. That's one of the things that they talked about in the Letitia Stout case, was that they didn't have to prove a motive for, her murdering Gannon, and she was found guilty of that. And AK says he's going to go live after his CT scan in 10 minutes. So I hope he has good luck on the CT scan and everything, and prayers to him for sure. He's been going through some stuff, and it would be awesome if every one of you has him in your prayers as well, and his family, and yeah, we're all gonna go watch AK when he goes live, and who found her is what Italia says, and who found her is the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. And let's see. And Priestess is being excited about seeing this over on Twitter, and about Brooks Houck being arrested for Crystal Rogers' murder this morning. And Humanimal says, yeah, finding Suzanne had nothing to do with Linda Stanley. And that is, a huge blessing. And another huge blessing is that Linda Stanley has announced that she will not be running for re-election. And I just hope that, that whoever gets on the ballot is not someone who has been, buddies with her or anything, because we do not need another. Thank you, Hard Rock Mama, for becoming a member. And and thank you so much, Candalee, for being a member for 6 months. And Hope Rock says, I think they'll be very caring towards Suzanne and telling her story. And yeah, that's one of the things that I really liked, is that in the articles, when they did mention Jeff Libler, they didn't really mention him by name, and they said Suzanne's boyfriend. They didn't go down the route of saying, her lover and secret lover or any of that stuff that was being tossed about before, and what Iris has been trying to trash Suzanne's reputation. And AK says, Suzanne has been amazing these past 2 weeks. Just saying, when the story comes out, it will be awesome. And yeah, and Chaffee County Sheriff has an article. Let me try to let me get over to Facebook, and I'll see if I can find that for us. Aha. Share this tab. Here we go. It says, am I sharing it? Yes. Okay. Had to make sure. I've still got the jitters in my hands are all sweaty and everything. 1 hour ago is when the Chaffey County Sheriff's Office made their news release. News release: remains positively identified as Suzanne Morphew, September 27th, 2023. And agents with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, located human remains during the course of a search on September 22nd, 2023. Those remains were positively identified as Suzanne Morphew, 49, of Chaffey County by the El Paso County coroner on September 27th, 2023. Morphew was reported missing from her home in Chaffey County on May 10th, 2020. Investigators were searching in the area of Moffett in Saguache County on an investigation not related to the Morphew disappearance when the remains were discovered. Specific information about the location and the state of the remains are being withheld at this time. No arrests have been made since the remains were located. Updates will be provided as information becomes available during this ongoing investigation. Family notifications have been made following the formal identification of Suzanne Morphew. While this case has garnered attention from around the world, it has touched our community and the Sheriff's Office deeply, said Chaffey County Sheriff John Spazey. We have never stopped our investigation. We'll continue to follow all leads in pursuit of justice for Suzanne. The remains were located in the 12th Judicial District, and District Attorney Ann Kelly has been notified. Note, there will be no news conference or media interviews related to this development in this case. Although locating Suzanne's remains is a critical component of this investigation, and for her family, we are left with many more questions than answers, and it would be a disservice to conduct a news conference at this time, said Sheriff Spazey. Aha. Yeah. He's been learning, which is good. So, that's good news that they're not going to go bungling around by speaking out of turn to the news and such. And Donna says, hopefully Suzanne's daughters are safe. And yeah, I hope so. And I hope that they have a good support system that's not Barry, that they can go to, because they've been standing by him. They've been believing whatever he told them, which is probably, he probably had them believing that their mom had run off and forgot about them or something, rather than what actually happened to her. And they're going to be experiencing a lot of trauma through this. And this comment saying, I wonder if she was moved, if they will be able to tell if this was her, originally where she was placed. And they should be able to tell whether she's been moved or not. There is so much. The world of forensics is so interesting. I've read several books on it and about what all remains can tell us. And and forensic anthropology is a thing, and it will be very telling. And Suzanne is going to tell her story. And let's see. Hey, case name Celestial. Shh. I know the Celestial is very proud of him. And yes, there's AK Rox's channel. You guys should definitely go check it out. He's got so much on there, and let's see. And the Stewart saying, with 3 years is a long time. Not sure if they could tell if she was strangled. And actually, there's a little bone in your throat that when you are strangled, the bone gets broken most of the time if you're strangled to death. And so if there's damage in there, they should be able to tell if her neck bones are intact. And let's see. And T.S. Jackson says, I bet that's not even near where Linda Stanley said she was and didn't bother to search. Exactly. Suzanne is obviously, she was found obviously not where Linda Stanley was hinting that she was. And Sandy Southern says, I hope and pray there is evidence found with her remains that him and his attorneys won't be able to dispute or manipulate that ties him to her murder. His daughters will never believe it, though. And I have a feeling that the daughters are going to be going through some tough stuff, because I'm sure that at some point these young women are going to be able to think for themselves, and they will, see the evidence, and they're not going to be able to stay in denial forever. And Beach Bum says that Aiton is going to raise her rates, and I bet she is. And Martin says, what a day. And I'm going to actually, and AK Rock, so does Martin. And yeah, let me, I'm so far behind on the chats, you guys. And yes, AK never gave up, ever. And we all know his heart. And we know that AK is going to be going live when he gets done with his doctor appointment. And, and here again is his channel. And the Chasing Chipmunks thing, I'm going to wrap mine up so that we have time to get over to AK's. And let's see, 165 in chat. Hey, that's awesome. And don't run, Barry, you're going down. Yeah, for sure. And I think we all hope he gets his just desserts. And yes, definitely, somebody run and for the DA position. I'm not sure if the person who has put her hat into the ring, I haven't done enough research on her to know whether she would just be a Linda Stanley clone or not. And let me keep scanning to see if there's anything. Let's see. Justice for Suzanne. And I'm trying to catch up with these comments to see if there's any other and Reichert says Barry's probably blaming it on the freaking mountain lion and laughing, and yeah, he probably is. And yes, hyoid bone. That's the bone I was talking about in the neck that I had forgotten the name of the bone, and now I've been reminded. And let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up and get ready to go watch AK when he goes live after his scan. And I think that I'll put up Nana's comment here, because yes, tick tock, Barry. It's all over for Barry. So watch. Okay, Bill Manning, thank you. So watch. And Lois Lane is looking forward to knowing what clothing Suzanne had on the day that she vanished. If it's not cycling clothes, then Barry lied. And yeah, her cycling clothes were on the floor of the closet. And so thank you very much, everyone. And Beach Bum, we don't know if it's private property or not. I'm guessing public, though. We'll learn more as it comes out. Anyhow, thank you so much, everyone. And I will see you later. See you over in the comments on AK's channel as soon as he gets done with the doctor's office. Love you guys. This is great news for Suzanne and justice for Suzanne.